Stand in my body, think your thoughts, speak your words, hold hostage my attention, pin my ear to the fixed post of your wisdom, whisper unto me those sacred truths and unlock the deep mysteries tucked away in this text. Lord, you be the preacher, I'll be the voice, apprehend, arrange, and arrest all my scattered thoughts. And at the end of the day, I'll take no credit for what you've done, but I'll give your name the praise. Lord, I'm unworthy to stand behind this, your sacred desk, but I beg that you don't punish your people for the sins of your servants. Now, Lord, we need a word. We need a word. In Jesus' name, amen. Give the Lord a hand of praise today. Come on, give the Lord praise all over the building. Feels good. Oh, certainly we ought to be able to do better than that. Come on, open up your mouth and bless him. Oh, y'all too quiet in here for me. I said, open up your mouth and bless him. Hallelujah. Do you love him? Hallelujah. Won't he be a Valentine for you? Hallelujah. Oh, come on, open up your mouth and let the redeemed of the Lord say so. He's brought you from a mighty long way, and for that you ought to tell him thank you. For letting you make it to the house today, you ought to tell him thank you. Giving all praises to God and to the head of my life, the Trinity in his existence, God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I thank God for all of you who are here today, to all these preachers, to these deacons, deaconess, the mothers of our church, and to all of you who are here today. It's good to be in the house of the Lord again. I pride myself on being a much better teacher than I am a preacher. And truth be told, teaching is what we really need. But it's going to be real hard for me to discuss this subject matter and not get beside myself. So if I take off in church, then that's just for me. That celebration is for me. But I do want to get down to the meat of the matter today. I wanted to share with you some things that we talked about quite some time ago in Bible study, and I want to share this with you, considering it's Love Month. I wasn't going to write anything new over the same subject matter, so I'm just going to tell you what the Bible teaches us on the subject. Now, with that being said, every once in a while when I do this, I will allow us to ask questions. And I'm not a big fan of letting people come to the mic on a Sunday morning. Just in case you have questions, you can text your questions about the subject, and then I will answer them live on the spot. I will not let you come up and ask your question, because I'm telling what you might say. We can't take it back. Amen. But if you text your question in, don't act like you don't text in church, because you've been doing it since before today. You might well text your question about the word. All right. So, but listen, this is not my personal number, so do not send me anything, throw it off, because this is not my number. Other than that, let's get right to the meat of the matter. Today's message is entitled, These Three Words. These three words. What three words, Pastor? Them three words right there. Them three words. You ever heard people tell you that? Anybody ever heard someone say, I love you? Yeah. Have you ever questioned whether they really mean it? Mm-hmm. Depending upon who's saying it, it should never be a question. You hear this phrase from family members, from friends, from in your love life or romantic relationships. You even hear it in puppy love. And you know, be careful what you say about puppy love, because it's love to the puppy. Right. It's love to the puppy. Now, it may not be love to you, but it's love to the puppy. I got teenage daughters, and they, y'all pray for your boy. They got, little guy friends now, and they really, really like them. And they say, Daddy, I think I love him. I said, no, you don't. Yes. And so my baby girl will say, well, to me it is. Right. And, and I ain't really, doing too good with that. But anyway, meet me in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 through 8. And we're going to talk about what love is. If I put the question to the floor today and ask, what is love? I guarantee you, we get a variety of answers. And I want to suggest to you that the reason that is true is because we define love based upon two things: our experiences and our expectations. Our definition of love comes from two different places in our life. what we have experienced, and what we expect. We base that definition based upon what we expect others to do for us. So we make statements like, if you love me, you'll do these things. And that's where our definition of love comes from personally, is based upon what we expect from people, which would suggest that if a failure to do these things will tell me that you don't love me. And so what you do is, by your expectations, you limit one's definition and their expression of love by your expectations of love. But what if your expectations of love do not match their expressions of love? The other thing that we use to define love is our experiences. We use love based upon the first time we felt love before. Our first interaction or our introduction to what love is. And so that's why I made it very clear to my daughters that the first love you're going to ever feel from a man is going to be from me. Because I'm going to shape your view and your definition of what love feels like. Because oftentimes, truth be told, our first experience with love tells us what love really is. Now, where's the danger in that? I'll tell you where the danger is. What if your first experience with love is not a godly one? Which is why we usually end up looking for love in all the wrong places. Be careful how you look down on promiscuous women who have lived these loose lifestyles with a bunch of men. And because, watch this, because the first experience they had with love was with someone who loved them ungodly. Right. So in order for them to get a true definition of love, they have to have a different experience. Our experiences help us define our definition of love. All of this makes sense until we get to the meat of the matter, because there is our definition of love and then there's God's definition of love. And I believe that if we go in and do an in-depth study on how God defines love, then it will change what we expect, it will change what we experience, and overall it will change how we define love. The question that comes to the table today is, do you define love the way God defines love? Because truth be told, God is love. But what if God ain't in your definition of love?
That's right.
Ooh. I said, if God is love, then what if what you expect ain't godly?
That's right.
You cannot have an ungodly relationship.
That's right.
And call it love.
That's right.
Oh, okay. Let me move to this side, see if I can get on this side. You cannot apply God's rules to an ungodly situation.
That's right.
It can't be love if it ain't God.
That's right.
Ooh, look at how y'all looking me up in here today. Because we got to understand the difference between our love and His love is sometimes we go based upon our emotions.
Yes.
Our feelings. But here's the problem. Feelings change. You don't believe me? Keep laying down at night and getting up in the morning. And tomorrow you will feel one way, and another day you can't stand it.
You better say it.
You better ask some of these folks who've been married for a long time. They'll tell you they ain't always been in love. Some days it's hey honey and hey boo and hey sweet thing. And other days I can't stand it. So and so and so and so.
Come on, man.
That's because sometimes you feel like and sometimes, sometimes you just don't. You just, it is what it is. And you can't define love based upon your feelings. Because let's be honest, your feelings gonna change. I don't care how much you love them. And that ain't just, now let me say this parenthetically. When I'm teaching today, I'm not just talking about romantic relationships. I'm talking about love, period. Because usually when we talk about love, all we thinking about is our boo. So we learn how to love our spouse or our girl and our boy, but we don't know how to love our kids.
Say that.
Oh, I'm going to preach that right there. Because see, a lot of us, you can show love to a man, but you can't show love to your son. You can show love to a woman, but you can't show love. Can you mean to tell me you can call somebody else and tell them but you don't know your daughter's teacher's name. You don't know their birthday. You ain't going nowhere. What is wrong with you? You love everybody else but the one you should be loving. Then there are those of us who distribute and deploy our love to those who are not qualified to receive it. Can I go a little deeper with that? You married, but somebody else has your heart.
Okay.
And my songwriter put it like this: your mind is here with me, but your body is here with me. But your mind is on the other side of town. Oh, look at how y'all look. Oh, y'all say it. Oh, y'all don't forget. Yeah. So what we do is we're not good stewards of our love. And so God says, if you're going to use my word, because watch this, God orchestrated love. He created love. He invented love. He said, if you're going to use it right. Okay. And he tells us how to use it. Now look at 1 Corinthians 13. And he tells us, since y'all want to talk about love, let me tell you what love is. You cannot help but read what love is and then discover what love is not. 1 Corinthians 13, verse 4 through 8. Now when you see the word charity, it translates into the Greek word love. So here it is. Love suffereth long and is kind. Love envies not. Love vaunteth not itself. It's not puffed up. It does not behave itself unseemly. It seeketh not her own. It is not easily provoked. It thinketh no evil. It rejoices not in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth. Emphasis on the truth, not they truth or a truth, but the truth. It beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. Love never fails. Auntie, do you have the message?
I do.
You do? Give her that mic and read that. Now I want you to read the Message translation. Check this out.
Love never gives up. Love never cares more for others than for self. Love doesn't want what it doesn't have. Love doesn't strut. Love doesn't have a swelled head. Doesn't force itself on others. Isn't always me first. Doesn't fly off the handle. Doesn't keep score of sins of others. Doesn't revel when others grovel. Takes pleasure in the flowering of truth. Puts up with anything. Trusts God always. Always looks for the best. Never looks best, but keeps going to the end.
That's it. So Paul teaches us in this text what love is, right? Now, let's make something very clear. All this begs question, how do I love the unlovable? There's your answer. The way God loves you. Oh, y'all were looking for something deep with it. Because you ever had some folks that are just completely unlovable. It don't matter how well you treat them, how kind you are to them, how much you do for them. They they hateful, mean, thrown off, and you like, but I'm supposed to love them because the Bible says love your enemies and love your neighbor and you're like, my God, I can't stand this. And they unlovable. And I'm telling you how to do it. The same way God had to put up with all of your thrown off and all of your issues and all of your lies and all of your, you know what kills me is that we forget that what we put up with from other folk, God had to put up with you. And can I go, I'm gonna throw this in for free. Usually, the problems you have with other people are a mirrored reflection of the problems God has with you. If people keep betraying because you usually keep betraying God's choice. If people keep lying on you, then it's usually because you keep lying on God. The Lord told me to do that. No, he didn't. And how many mistakes would we not have made if we just simply knew what love was? Ooh, my God, Jesus keeping it wrong. If we really knew what love was, would you have gotten married? Would the kids you have, would they even be here? But there are some things, some mistakes you wouldn't even made if you just knew what love really was. How to, and I ain't talking about your definition or how it's written in a love song. I'm talking about how God defines it. And then somebody will say, well, that's God's definition. But I think it's only fair that we only occupy God's definition, seeing as though he's the instructor and the creator of love. He created it. There are 4 types of love in the Bible. 4. There is eros, which is a sensual and physical love. Let me deal with this for a second. Love can be expressed physically. It includes sex, but it is not limited to sex. Now, but here's the dangerous thing. Here's the problem. You can express love through intimacy, physically. The danger with that is, if the expression of your love is not approved by God, then you have swapped spirits without God's approval. And so maybe y'all didn't make a baby, but they still left their fruit in your house. Because intimacy gives birth to spiritual intimacy. What happens is, when this takes place, what happens is 2 spirits come together and collide. And the question is, you don't know what's in them spirits. Because you bring in all of their hell, and all of their demons, and all of their issues spiritually into your place. And so a lot of us, I'm trying to be careful. We have protected intimacy physically, but we are spiritually unprotected. And so what ends up happening is you start trying to figure out where these habits come from. What kind of foolishness is this I'm dealing with? This ain't never been happening before. Where these spirits come in? That's because you kissed your daughter with the same lips. You hugged your daughter, your son, with the same hands that you. Does that make sense where I'm going with this? And you are transferring these spirits all through your house, and then you're trying to figure out where does this come from.
Oh, wow.
That's physical. And then there's storge, which is a natural and family love. That's family love. That's a different type of love. That's a love that happens between relatives, family. Now, let me tell you this. All blood ain't family. And all family ain't blood.
Definitely.
Because there's some folks that's blood kinfolk, but they don't feel like family at all. And then there are some folk in your life, you love them like they your own family. And so then there's philia love, which is friendship and brotherly love. This is love that is not necessarily propped up on a blood covenant or a relative. But it's simply because we just relate. Friendship and brotherly love. And then there is agape love, which is the highest form of God's love for mankind, which is perfect. It is God's love. That's agape love. It's the highest form. It is unconditional love. Stop, let me be clear. Stop expecting people to love you unconditionally. They are not God. They can't do it.
You supposed to love me unconditionally.
I can't. I know I'm supposed to, but I can't. You do the wrong thing with me, might be an issue. Yeah, it's on. All right, now let's look at the way love flows. So we know what love is. But let's look at the way, this is how love flows. Love flows in 2 directions, horizontal and vertical. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you the first direction of love, which is vertical, which is up and down. Matthew 22 and 37. All right, I'm going to read it. Matthew 22 and 37 reads like this. Jesus said unto them, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul and with all thy mind. Before you can even begin to love anybody else, you must first love God. You cannot love anybody until you know how to love Him. Can I pull over right there and say this to you? Stop falling in love with people who have not fallen in love with God. Oh my God, I need to teach this right here. Because a lot of us, we look at people, oh, they got great credit, they nice looking, and they gonna do great things, but they don't love God, so how they gonna love you? Which is why the Bible says, be not unequally yoked. You can't be friends with everybody. You can't be married with just anybody that look good on paper. Do they love God? I'm going to go so far as to say this. If they don't love God more than they love you, they are not good enough for you. Which is why the text, Jesus said, love God with all of your heart, all of your might, with everything. You shouldn't have no love left for nobody else because you've given it all to God. That's right. So, well, Pastor, if I've given all my love to God, then how do I love people? The same way you trust. Love works the same way trust does. You trust. You put all your trust in God. Well then, Pastor, how am I supposed to trust people? I'm so glad you asked. The way you trust people is by first trusting God so He can teach you how to trust them. Right. A lot of us, we trust people in areas we shouldn't. Right. And God said, had you just trusted me, I'd have told you you couldn't trust me. Love works the same way. You got to love God with everything you got. And then He'll show you how to love them. Okay? So that's love. That's love vertical. Now watch this. Here's the next direction. Now we're dealing with the horizontal. Look at Mark 12 and 31. Mark 12 and 31. Are y'all learning it all today? Yeah. And the second is like, is that right? Yeah, that's right. Namely this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. There is no other commandment greater than these. Ooh-wee. Now hold that. Now go to Deuteronomy 6 and 5. So I got to show this to y'all, but I don't want y'all to think I made it up. Deuteronomy. If you're in the New Testament, go back. It's in the Old Testament. Deuteronomy 6 and 5. It reads like this. And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. Now, why am I telling you that again? I thought we was talking about loving people. Mark just told us, love your neighbor. We just learned that you can't love your neighbor without first loving God, which is why I took you back to Deuteronomy. Now Mark says love your neighbor. So we first must love God, and then we love each other. Now, does anybody see the shape of the lines of love? If the cross is anything, it is a picture of love. How do I know this? Because ain't a nail on the planet can hold Jesus on the cross. Love kept him there. Amen. And now watch this. The vertical holds up the horizontal. You cannot have love this way between a person and a person without the love that goes between you and God. I'm going to suggest to you, you can't love nobody until you first love God. Period. It's not possible. It's not possible. If you are an atheist, you are not in love. Now wait a minute, Pastor, are you telling me that people who don't believe in God don't love their kids? No. Here's what I'm telling you. What I'm telling you is that they don't know what they're doing. And they cannot clearly define it by God's definition of it. Simply because they don't know the architect of it. That's right. And when you don't know the creator of a thing, you can drive a car and not know its creator. This still don't mean you don't know how to operate the car. Does that make sense? Now, let's talk about love another way. If you don't heal from what hurt you, then you will bleed on people who didn't cut you. If you don't heal, church, listen to me. If you don't heal from what hurt you, then you'll bleed on people that didn't cut you. And a lot of us cannot love somebody else because we haven't healed from the other person's hurt.
Say that.
And the last time you loved like this, it hurt you. You can't even move on in your love life because the last person you fell in love with, they hurt you. Heal before you move. Because what you'll end up doing is bringing that hurt. Here's the problem. If you hurt, when you are hurt, it inflicts pain. And that pain becomes your baggage. And so when I want to move on and love somebody else, I'm lugging around. And what's not fair is they got to deal with me and my baggage and my hurt. But watch this, that ain't their fault. So what you have to learn to do is when you've been hurt, you got to learn to deal with your pain, address it, and then you have to walk away and keep moving. Because we keep trying to love people. Watch this. You keep trying to expect people. Remember I was talking about expectations earlier. You expecting people to live up to the failed expectations that somebody else had. So you say, so what you do is, if you love me, you wouldn't do what they did. Ooh, teach Pastor Jay. If you love me, you wouldn't hurt me the way they did. But what if what they did has something to do with what you didn't do? And the problem is you got to let it go. When you fall in love or when you have family members who are just trying to get next to you, trying to love you the way they should, you got to let go of the previous pain. You know what? There are grown folks carrying around 30-year-old burdens and grudges. You got to let go. You got to let go. You cannot love tomorrow if you won't let go of today. I'm going to give you these things, basically, just tell us what love is. Paul says in our scripture, love is patient. Let that sink in for a minute. Love is patient. Do you know what patient means? It means long suffering. It means to endure the growth process. Here's what that means. Paul says God tells us if you really love a person, you will give them time to grow into what you expect. Because see, we keep expecting them to be out the box what we want. But they have to grow into that. And the same, watch this. God had to be patient with you. He had to wait till you stop lying, stop clubbing, stop smoking, stop working, and all this stuff. And let me be clear. Everybody ain't arrived. Now, just because you have arrived, and some of y'all just kill me because you holy now and saved and sanctified, but give the rest of us a little time to catch up. So saved, sanctified self. Give us some time. Because watch this, you don't know what hurt is behind their sin. Now, so love is patient, love is kind. Love is kind. Love is kind. Which means you can't love me and be mean. Right? Don't kill me. Who I love my pastor. But the way say that. If that's love, I don't want it. Let's be honest. You ever have folk that in your face and tell you how much they love you, but around other people. Yes. Yeah. Around other people. That's right. They only love you because they're in your face. But when they're around somebody else, I'm gonna run this rabbit today. I don't care what nobody and in the beauty shop and the grocery store. Well, I've been knowing. Look, if you don't like me, stop lying. Just say, look, I don't really fool with you.
Exactly.
That's right. That's right.
You know, I'm gonna be a little transparent. Y'all know me and Kristen are the best of friends. Now y'all also know she's real thrown off.
Yeah, we do.
Real thrown off. But one of the reasons we friends is because we accept each other's thrown off. And any of you know her, know she throws. Oh, come on, be honest. But see, anybody can love you.
Yeah.
And you ain't got no issues.
Right.
But it takes a special kind of person to be kind to you, knowing your issues.
Amen. Come on, we're free.
Be kind. Love does not envy. What Paul is saying, love is not jealous. Woo. Some folk, they love you until you do better than them. They love you until you get married. They love you until you get a house. They love you until you make 30 more cents than they make. They only love does not envy. If you really love me, you'll be pushing me to greatness, driving me to be better than I've ever been, even if it makes me better than you.
That's what love is.
Love does not boast. Does not brag. You know, there are some folks, even when this, you ever met folks like this, even when it ain't about them, they make it about them. Man, I be want to tell some folks, this is not about you. We at somebody else's funeral. You know, I lost my mama. Baby, this ain't your day today, baby. This ain't your day. Everything ain't about you. You can't even grieve. Because they got to bring up the person they lost 33 years ago and they burn a new one. People that boast about everything. Yes, ma'am, you have a question.
So the question is, with love, how much time do you give them to change?
Oh, good question. My God. Man, y'all gonna put me on the spot with that. With love, how much? Now the question begs two concepts. Because if I give them too much time, then I would have wasted my time.
Right.
So here's the deal. Here's why I answer that question. You got to learn to love. Just because I love you does not mean I have to be in covenant with you. See, my love requires that I wait forever until you change. But it don't mean I got to get in a relationship with you. We family. But, you know, old folk call it just long handle spoons. Because see, there are certain ways you can't exist with people because they have not grown enough to exist with you on that level. So you love them, and if it takes no matter how long it takes them to change, but they don't mean live with them. Well, wait a minute, Pastor. Now, what if we marry? Okay. I'll tell you what if we marry? If we marry, I can't leave. But I ain't telling you to leave your spouse. Let me do that. Now, you know, before I say that, let me say this. There are certain things you need to think about before you get married. Number one. Right. Because a lot of us married folk thinking they're going to change. Yeah. And that ain't biblical. Let me tell you something. When I do marriage counseling, I do marriage counseling all the time, and don't judge me, because I feel like somebody just feel the spirit of judgment right now. How you gonna be? Whatever. My job is to give the Bible, okay? And the first question I ask married couples when they want to get married is I say, hey, write down, both of you, write down a list of things that you can't stand about each other. Ask me down to that, Kristen. Write down a list of things you can't stand about each other. And then I want you to go home and ask yourself, is there anything on this list I can't live with for the rest of my life? So here's the problem. A lot of us married folks thinking, okay, I'm marrying you under the conditions you're going to change. But what if they don't? You don't get to get out. So you need to remember that marriage is till death do us part. As is. Yeah. Now God working on us, but it's as is. Okay. All right. So hope I answered the question. Love is not rude. Enough said. Love is not selfish. There's some people, when they love you, everything they do for you is about them. Some people can come down here for the church and say, I love my church, and they do everything they can for the church, but they only do it for their self-recognition. You know how you can tell? The moment they don't get what they're doing it for, then their love changes. Yeah. Selfish. Love is not easily angered. It's not easily angered. If it don't take much for you to go off and go left and get mad and act a fool, that ain't love. You need some help. And let me pull over and say this. Spiritual counseling and biblical counseling is no substitute for psychological. Some of us, it ain't the problem ain't them. The problem is you got an anger management problem. Get some help. They left their socks on the floor and you finna cuss and act a fool and bleed a house. You done went upside folks' head. And let me be clear, there's something wrong with a man who hits a woman. That ain't love.
Say that.
That ain't love. At all. I don't care how much they love you, how much they taking care of you. That ain't love. I'm telling you, I train mine to be very clear. You pick up something and you knock the love, and then you call your daddy so I can finish them off. That's not love. God loves you so much, and when he chases you, he does not abuse you.
No, you don't.
That ain't love.
No, it's not.
He just doing it because he loves. No. Men, you better learn how to control your tempers. Control your temper. But hold up, because some of it ain't the men, it's some of these bad-tempered women. I mean, the slightest thing go wrong, you done went all the way off, all the way left. I mean, oh my God, all he did was leave the refrigerator open, and you want a divorce, you want to move out. Good God Almighty. You that mad because he left the toilet seat up? Why you can't just let it down? We don't walk in up mad because you let it down.
Don't do that one.
You can't act the fool over everything. Because watch this. If you spend more time mad, how much time you got to be in love?
No.
Preach, Pastor J. I'm trying to warn y'all. Stand up in here today. I mean, you always mad. Every time you come home, you got an attitude. Your kids can't stand you. When they come, why you didn't do this and so and so and so? Man, how was your day? Baby, give me a hug. My God. Love is not easily angered. Here's another one. Love keeps no record of wrong.
No, it doesn't. What is that?
Love keeps no record of wrong. Some of us can't even move on. Because every time something happens, I remember what you always bringing it up. Man, we done moved on. He done bought you a purse and everything. Your baby done pulled their grades up, and you can't even let them go outside because they failed 6 weeks ago. Man, the grades is pulled up now. Let's move on from this. It keeps no record of wrong. Wow. It does not delight in evil. Now we can use it, we run past this because, well, what Christian just takes joy in evil? I'll tell you ones, the messy ones. Amen. Some people like mess. Especially if they got it first.
Okay. Can I tell you?
We like mess. We love mess. Gossip. Scandal. Well, how long you gonna be everybody else's trash can? There's some dysfunctional when you got a family member, somebody in your family dealing with some mess, and you go out and talk about them too. That hurts.
Yes, it does.
That really hurts. When y'all supposed to be tight and better than that and family The knife you pull out your back got the fingerprints of people you live with on them. Delight in evil. They rejoice in the truth. Now watch this, let me be clear. The truth is not your truth. The truth. There is your truth, they truth, and the truth. But now watch this. Just because something is true does not make it the truth.
Explain.
Gladly. Here's what I mean. It may be true that someone comes walking out of a bank with a ski mask on with a bag full of money. That's true. That does not mean they robbed the bank.
Right.
It's true that they walked out the bank dressed like that, looking like that. But it don't necessarily mean that it's true that they are. And even if they did rob the bank, that may not be true that they are a bank robber.
Right.
See, some of us, everybody that sells drugs ain't a drug dealer.
Right. Right.
Some people fell on hard times. They were not spiritually mature enough to make better decisions, so they chose whatever it takes to feed their kids.
Yeah. You're right.
Does that make them a criminal? Yes. Does it make them a drug dealer? Maybe. But the whole truth is they're trying to survive. Yeah. But you're so busy judging them. Looking down on them. When if it was you ain't gonna tell them what you do if your kids were about to starve to death.
Do what you have to do.
You'll sell you.
Say that too.
Some of us have. Y'all get on my nerves. Y'all get on my nerves. Get on my nerves judging folk around her. Like you don't forgot. You don't have to do whatever it takes to put your kids through school. Man, they want to get their kids to eat too.
Right.
Love always protects. Love always protects. It protects, it trusts, it hopes, and it perseveres.
Yeah.
All of that is under protection. Protect those you love.
Yes.
Even if they're guilty, you protect them. Let me tell you something. If my kid got in trouble, this is my instruction to them. Tell me the truth. Tell me the truth. But then we'll figure out what we're going to tell them. That's me protecting them. But some of y'all kill me. You love folks, but you won't cover them. As your pastor, it is my job. I don't care how guilty you are. I'm covering you. Well, Pastor, then you know they did it. I didn't see it. I don't believe that. Now, do understand, when I see you, come here, when you talk, when you have conversation, now, because you done showed out and acted a fool. But after, I'm going to protect you. Now, that's more than I can say about
Come on, say it.
All right. Love never fails. Love never fails. That's it. That's all love is. Everything that we just talked about, that's what love is. The next time you say, I love somebody, make sure you can say everything we just talked in here. Because if you can't, then stop lying. Because that's not love. That's not love. It's emotions. It's expectations. It's experiences. But it ain't love. And on this Valentine's Day, there are going to be a lot of people walking around, ooh, I love him. I love him. I love them. But most of them haven't the slightest clue what love really is. Let me tell you a story about what love really is. Love is on Friday. Old Baptist church, they be hooping and hollering by now. But a love story, the greatest love story I've ever heard, was on a hill called Calvary. He died. They put nails in his hands, nails in his feet.
Come on.
He wasn't even wrong. He was.
Thank you.
His innocence had been raped by my guilt.
Come on.
He was truth, nailed down by lies.
Thank
He loves you so much, he wrote you a love letter.
Hallelujah.
His love letter was written in blood.
Thank you.
He loved you so much you did it, he paid for it. Men, the Bible tells us, love your wives as Christ loved the church.
Come on.
That means die for her. Even if she the one killing you. Watch this, how I know that? Because the church was the one killing you.
Come on, man. Preach, son.
It's a sacrifice. But the church is also in response to Calvary, should serve him. But the story doesn't end there. Because the same love that crucified him is the same love that raised him. And I don't know what kind of idiot would pass up that kind of love and not want to be saved. If you're here today, I want to introduce you to the lover of your soul. The best thing ever happened to you. Falling in love with Jesus was the greatest thing that ever happened. You know why? Because when folk mistreat you, he'll show you how much they love don't even matter no more. When they persecute you, he'll tell you, don't worry about it. Because no weapon formed against me. The one I'm talking about will tell you, yeah, let them talk. Let them do whatever they gonna do. But vengeance is mine. And you know what I learned? We get so mad that we can't get revenge, that we so silly that we forget he's better at revenge than them. Ooh, when God get it back though. So if you don't know Jesus, come here. Come here. I want to introduce you to somebody who will be the best thing that ever happened to you. Anybody should ever write my life story. For any reason. You tell them, don't tell them I'm a great preacher, a great pastor. You tell them Jesus is the best thing that ever happened to me. That's what love is. If you're here today and you don't know Jesus, you need a church home, you need to baptize on a prayer, come here. Let's come on. Let's stand. Let me dismiss it. Father, before we leave this place, we thank you for loving us. Lord, you loved us in spite of us. Truth be told, we don't deserve your love. When folk hated us, you loved us. When we didn't have enough sense to love ourselves, you loved us.
Thank you, Lord.
And for that, we say thank you. Thank you for putting up with us. Other folks would walk out on us and throw us away and mistreat us, but God, you kept us because your love never fails. Now may the grace of God